Schumacher, the two-time All-American Amanda Scarborough with you from Athens, Georgia, getting set to start game 2 of this 3-game set between top 20 SEC foes. A&M in game 1 won in convincing fashion, 8-0 in 6 innings. Lily Backus in the circle for game 2 for Georgia, looking to stop a 4-game losing streak.
Back as a transfer on this Georgia staff. She was here last year, got her feet wet in the SEC. Kind of a co-ace with Randy Rowling, who pitched the first game. And Georgia is really unique in the sense that they have 2 co-aces that are both left-handed. You just do not see that very often, but Rowling the lefty and Backus the lefty share a lot of starts.
Well, here in game 2, Lily Backus taking on one of the better offenses, not only in the conference, but in the country. KK Dement, of course, with her 7th home run of the year. Back in game 1. Power grounding out to first, 1 away.
The senior, Lily Backus, coming from UNC, a sub-3 ERA.
Looking to bounce back, Amanda, after giving up 6 earned runs in her last start against Alabama. It was a series in which Georgia won game 1, then lost the next 2 games. And they are still searching for their first SEC series win of the year. Tony Baldwin's group played 3 straight series against top 10 teams, and then the rivalry with Alabama last weekend. And that caught a piece of Amari Harper, but it sounds like it got the bat first, according to home plate umpire Ronald Burkhardt. And now Tricia Ford, the head coach for Texas A&M, just wants to confirm.
Well, Amari Harper is holding her left hand, which her pointer finger on her left hand is broken and has been broken since the first week in a season, but she has continued to play through, and it's a little wrapped up. She's talking to the trainer right now, but you know that hurts a little extra, of course, when you're playing with a broken finger. See it wrapped up, taped to that middle finger to give it extra support.
It's the one place on her body you don't want to get hit at this point in the year.
Texas A&M is challenging the foul ball call at the plate. The call is under further review.
Well, there you go. Scott Mayer, our first base umpire. Ronald White over at third. And on the second batter of the game, Tricia Ford challenging the foul ball call.
To me, it looked like it got all of her hand and not the bat. You could tell too with the reaction, but maybe it did hit her hand and then the bat. Tough to tell.
I think it clearly hits her hand first. The question then is, does it then deflect off the bat?
Which off of her hand would be a dead ball. I would think that this would be a hit by pitch.
Right.
But I don't know, is there enough evidence to clearly tell that it hit her hand before the bat?
Usually you can tell by the sound, which makes me think, man, that must have hurt if it hit her hand and made enough of a noise that it sounded like a foul ball, if it did not indeed hit the bat.
The other part is, too, she's right on the chalk line. Look at where her toes are and how she's right on top of the plate. So that pitch is in the river, it looks like to me, and how she moves into the pitch in the river. And if the pitch is in the river, you have to make an attempt to get out of the way instead of this obviously is not intentional that she moved into the ball, just starting her swing.
After further review, the call has been changed. We have a hit by pitch. The runners awarded first base. This is Texas A&M's first challenge.
So kind of of what we originally thought, that she didn't go with her swing and that it did indeed hit her hand and then it hit the barrel. So that's what you were looking for too in that replay, that the barrel didn't actually offer at the swing. It actually hit her hand and she did not offer at the pitch.
So Trisha Ford is now 2 for 2 in the series in challenges.
Right.
Successfully challenged a call back in game 1. And now Maya Perez comes up swinging. Homered in game 1, her 11th of the year, and has become one of the most dangerous hitters in the country after primarily coming off the bench as a freshman.
That freshman year was hard for her. Coach Ford told us that this is a player who had never failed before at any level that she had played at before she got to A&M. But her freshman year was tough on her. Now she's going to have to face another left-handed pitcher in Lily Backus, who is not going to throw very hard. She'll throw about 62, 63 miles an hour. Her go-to pitches are her curveball. She'll throw it on both sides of the plate, and her changeup. That changeup is what Tony Baldwin, the head coach for Georgia, calls her get-out-of-jail-free card, and she wants you to chase it. It's a great-looking spot right there. Just missed low. Something that A&M did really well in game 1 against Rolling in the first inning was that they had so much patience, a really good eye. They chased later in the game, but that first inning, they took so many close pitches. Did you ever play Monopoly with the get-out-of-jail-free card? Yeah. That's the changeup of Lily Backus, and A&M is going to have to deal with that all throughout this game for as long as she's in there. They have to be disciplined on that pitch.
They were extremely disciplined in game 1, to your point. 11 free passes, including 10 walks. Perez spoils the 3-2.
This is the best shape that Maya Perez has ever been in, and she put everything this summer and in the fall into her preparation and just into the process of getting confident, feeling good about herself coming into this season after hit and miss at times her freshman year, just 1 home run. But when you see that opposite field power like she had in game 1, that's how you know a hitter is seeing the ball well.
That 1 home run, by the way,
Yeah, tell me about it.
came in the Super Regional against top-seeded Texas to extend game 2, forcing extra innings. Off the bench with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Flies this into left field. Caught by Jaden Goodwin, 2 away.
Good pitch there by Lily Backus. That was indeed her changeup, throwing it on a full count. That pitch, she has the confidence to throw that pitch in any count, and it's so unique because a pitcher either loves their changeup or they hate their changeup. But if you can throw a changeup in any count to keep a hitter off balance, even in a crucial count like a full count when you have to throw a strike, it means you believe in that pitch.
Back Barbara, right back to her, and Backus pitches around to hit batter. Successful first inning for the UNC transfer. Takes strike 1 from Grace Sparks. It's a Georgia team that looks quite a bit different than it did last year. They replaced 3 All-Americans, 5 positional starters, and have shuffled the lineup quite a bit, just trying to find that right combination to maintain momentum. Just a week ago, they beat a top 20 Oklahoma State team right here at Jack Turner Stadium.
And there's so much talent in this lineup. They're just all either young or don't have as much experience as a junior or senior who has been a 3 or 4 year starter. And Tyler Ellison is a perfect example of that. Did not play a lot, was an everyday starter her freshman and her sophomore year, as an everyday starter as a junior, and now thrust into the leadoff spot. And super talented, but to have that SEC experience under your belt all throughout this lineup, it's just a little bit missing because of what they graduated. Just one of the best senior classes to ever play here.
Full count to Ellison. Went 1 for 3 in game 1. Shoots this up the middle and into center field, and a leadoff base knock for Georgia to start the bottom of the first. Well, Grace Sparks will come in here in game 2, Amanda, and try to pick up right where the All-American Emily Kennedy left off. She was nearly flawless in game 1.
Grace Sparks transferred from Ole Miss, a big pickup in the transfer portal for A&M. They wanted to add some depth to their pitching staff, so they grabbed Grace Sparks from Ole Miss. They grabbed Sydney Peters from Washington to really add depth behind the ace of Emily Kennedy. And Grace Sparks is going to give a completely different look with being more down in the zone with her drop ball and her changeup. What we saw from Emily Kennedy is just this tremendous rise ball at 70 miles an hour up in the zone in game 1. And now Grace Sparks comes in, not going to throw as hard, but she is a pure drop baller down in the zone and tunnels her changeup well, meaning it comes out of her hand looking like it could be that 65 mile an hour drop ball out of the chute, and instead it is a changeup that mixes speeds.
Sparks has pitched well lately, 1 earned run over her last 3 appearances, spanning 8 innings. That included an outing against Alabama, series in which A&M took 2-1. Good. 3 umpires are getting together here in the middle of the field. The very end of that play, it almost looked like Harper gave up because she couldn't quite find the ball in right field.
And it's your job as an outfielder out there to throw up your hands, which she's saying, looks like she's saying that to Allie Enright. That's what I did, but we have a hard time seeing down there, down the right field line where that tarp is. I did not see that, but that's what you want to do as a player, is throw your arms up like you can't get to the ball. Instead, she looked like she kind of still went after it.
Tell you what, though, Dallas Goodnight, plus speed, applying pressure to the nth degree.
Yeah, and then she just keeps running. We talk about the speed for A&M, but Dallas Goodnight has a ton of speed as well. Motors around the base pass. I'm so interested to see how the umpires handle this with that ball getting stuck down there, and they're all 3 working as a team right now, it looks like, to figure it out.
Well, at least on that camera angle, I didn't see Amari Harper do anything to signal, hey, I can't find the ball over here. It's stuck in the tarp or somewhere else in the fence. Ronald Burkhart, our home plate umpire. Scott Mayer at first. Ronald White at third. And Tony Baldwin is heated.
And look, he does not usually get like this. Seen him coach a lot of games. He is not one to get this upset. Because I think what might happen is that Ellison might have to go back to third and Goodnight might have to go back to second. And that is why he would be so fired up. We'll see if we can eventually get wind. JT D'Amico is now chatting.
This is a team that has just been on the cusp, it feels like, since league play began. Multiple one-run games that they just haven't been able to close out. Leading in games against top 10 teams, LSU, South Carolina, and Tennessee. They were in games against all 3 of those opponents, unable to come away with them. Here's Scott Mayer.
The call on the field is a ground rule double. Runners at second and
tough play for Georgia, and now they're going to be that much more fired up to score these runs and to get fired up for the rest of the game.
And now, if you're the Bulldogs, you have to regather yourself here as Trisha Ford pops out of the dugout. Now she wants to go chat with Grace Sparks.
Just a really great read, by the way, by Dallas Goodnight. It's a bunt situation, and she has speed anyway. So the A&M infield is going to be expecting the ball on the ground, but she perfectly places it. Now look at the defensive rotation. When Kennedy Powell gets this ball, Grace Sparks, the pitcher, is like, yeah, no, I don't want to field this. So she's out, and Maya Perez, the first baseman, is anchored back. So Kennedy Powell, that leaves all of the bunt territory for her to have to field that. Puts a lot of pressure with Dallas Goodnight's speed. So she had pressure to make that play quick, but A&M is showing their hand with how they're going to play a bunt, where Grace Sparks, you could tell she didn't really want anything to do with it. Maya Perez was anchored back. We'll see how that continues to play a part in the rest of this game.
Well, during that timeout, JT D'Amico, the hitting coach for Georgia, who also stands at first base, just came over and got everyone out of the dugout down the third base line. A big moment here for Georgia after losing 8-zip in game one. A strike to Lindy Ray Davis.
Watching Lindy Ray Davis compete at Georgia for several years now at being a senior, I feel like the way that Grace Sparks pitches more down in the zone can move right into her swing path. Grace Sparks has to be very careful. That's why you're seeing her change speeds a couple of times to start this AB. Lindy Ray Davis has a lot of power lower in the zone.
We're being told that Tony Baldwin is no longer in the Georgia dugout, though we have not been told whether or not he was officially ejected from the game. We will keep you posted on that.
It's that power on that foul ball that I talked about. Wouldn't be surprised to see another changeup here by Grace Sparks.
The 1-2. This is why the Lindy Ray Davis, four-year starter here at Georgia, although that's looked different this year. Played a lot behind the plate in her earlier seasons here in Athens. This year, primarily in the DP spot. And calls time at home.
Really careful if you're Grace Sparks in the inner half.
Fly ball will stay in the infield. Perez in foul territory. It pops out of her glove. And they are going to blow it dead. It is a foul ball. And so Ellison will have to go back to third base. Goodnight back to second base.
A long time to think about that foul ball coming down. You're feeling the runner round. You're feeling the fans as this ball is in the air. You're maybe battling the sun a little bit. And maybe it's moving around with the wind. A lot going on what looks like a routine fly ball, and absolutely should be caught. A&M's defense today has not looked sharp, especially on the infield in particular.
Another 2-2. Davis, this time in the center field. Should be enough to score. Ellison. The throw from Enright is off the line, and Georgia strikes first.
So that error by Maya Perez is going to lead to a run, and Davis having another opportunity to get that fly ball to the outfield to put Georgia on the board first. Exactly what she needed to do in that situation. Runner at third base, less than 2 outs, drive the ball to the outfield.
Now Jaden Goodwin digs in, batting a career-high .353. For large stretches of the season, has either led or been tied for the lead on the team in a host of offensive categories.
The funny thing, Matt, about having a game at Georgia, by the way, is we just kind of take a beat. Any ball that goes in the air, there's all these little kids that come to every game, and any fly ball in the air, it's a home run. You can hear them.
Like that one. Tailing foul.
That one was a little bit deeper and actually looked more like a home run than the drop fly ball to Maya Perez that they got all excited about. But so many little young girls love to come watch Georgia softball, and they always have a ton of young fans that get excited about the ball in the air.
Well, they have already set an attendance record this year at Jack Turner Stadium. And this afternoon is no different, as home plate umpire Ronald Burkhardt is fixing something behind home plate here.
All right.
This first innings had just about everything you could ask for.
You see something new every game that you call. You really do.
But if you're Georgia, a huge opportunity here for Jaden Goodwin. Remember, they had 2 runs wiped off the board after Dallas Goodnight's Little League home run was called back, essentially. And instead of 2-0, it was 2 on, nobody out, and a 0-0 game. Goodwin can make good here with a base hit to score Goodnight from third. The 1-2.
Tony Baldwin has always loved just the competitive nature of Jaden Goodwin. He told us that she has been a ball player her whole life. He actually saw her first in 12U at the national championship game.
2-2 into right field. See you later, a home run. The 7th home run of the year for Jaden Goodwin makes it 3-0 Georgia.
It's a way to get those 2 runs back. Tony Baldwin said that Jaden Goodwin has something about her, a knack for being successful. And this, she got all into a mistake down the heart of the plate, and Jaden Goodwin gets this crowd majorly involved, her teammates pumped up, and I'm sure Tony Baldwin, if he's watching this game, is jumping around in his office if that's where he is right now.
This is launched into left field. Back-to-back jacks.
Look at her go up and get that pitch. The wild thing about that is that Grace Sparks is known for being more down in the zone with her drop ball. That's where she's been pitching in the first inning, but Sarah Gordon goes up and gets a rise ball at her eyes. And this is what it looks like when you get mad, when you get competitive, when you get a little bit feisty, everybody feeding off of each other. Back-to-back home runs for Georgia to come up 4-0.
By the way, it has been confirmed that Tony Baldwin was ejected from the game. Boy, has his team responded with some fire.
Absolutely.
And now I believe we're going to get a pitching change from Trisha Ford and Texas A&M. It'll be Emily Levitt replacing Grace Sparks in the first, and only 1 out. We will step aside. Georgia comes out firing after losing game 1, 8-zip. So now Emily Levitt comes in with the bases empty and 1 down, taking on Emily Digby.
I think the tough part too for A&M pitching with Emily Levitt now entering this game, the senior, a transfer from Minnesota a few years back, is you go from seeing Emily Kennedy the same day in game 1 throwing 69, 70 miles an hour up at your eyes, to then a slower speed like Grace Sparks. And if you're hitting, it just looks that much sweeter, especially with the way that Grace Sparks' changeup was not really working, just not effective. So that drop ball, they were just being able to look for 1 speed. She was missing over the plate with not great command.
Digby goes down on strikes, 2 away. Well, for Emily Levitt, this is only her 2nd appearance in an SEC series this year. The first came against Auburn. 1 inning pitch, 2 walks, a strikeout, no runs. Big opportunity here. And if she pitches well, who knows how long she goes. With Trisha Ford having used already Emily Kennedy in all 6 innings of game 1 earlier today.
Well, and props to Georgia for taking advantage of some A&M miscues. I mean, they made an error, Kennedy Powell did, on a bunt, and then Mai Perez should have had an easy fly ball caught. So they've really hurt themselves. Yes, Georgia has absolutely taken advantage of it with a couple of home runs in this inning, but A&M's defense today just has not looked as sharp as it's needed to, or really how it's been for the whole season.
Well, Marissa Miller will try to keep the first inning rally alive. has played her way into becoming the everyday starting catcher for Georgia in year 2. Makes it ball 3.
Talked about it before. I mean, this team has so much talent on it that Tony Baldwin has recruited here to play at Georgia. It's just, I'm sure Georgia fans and other fans in the SEC are so tired of hearing about it, but they're just young and inexperienced, and that really does make a difference in this league.
Double-digit underclassmen on Tony Baldwin's team here in 2025. The 3-1 to Miller. Laser down the left field line and foul.
Very similar first inning, huh? A&M and Game 1, first inning, scored 5 runs, and then now Georgia in the first inning scoring 4. Offside inning early in the game. Makes a statement.
Full count to Miller. Strikeout looking, and back-to-back Ks for Emily Levitt coming in out of the pen, but not before back-to-back Bulldog homers.
We're seeing some fired up Georgia Bulldogs after getting run ruled in Game 1. They answer back in a big way in the first inning. Back-to-back bombs by Jaden Goodwin and Sarah Gordon.
Does a rising tide really lift all boats? Well, rising tides can do a lot of things.
That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune.
Over 100 years ago, dairy farmers in Tillamook built a boat to share their dairy with the world. Overboard? Maybe, but we're farmer owned. And going overboard for dairy is just what we do.
What a difference a couple of hours in a jersey change can make. Totally different Georgia offense than we saw in Game 1. Scoring 4 runs in the first inning here in Game 2 to take a commanding lead as we enter the second inning. Woolley, a fly ball to left field. 1 down.
Well, and not to discredit anything Georgia's done in this game, but they're facing All-American pitcher in Emily Kennedy in Game 1. So it's a very different looking pitcher than facing Grace Sparks and now Emily Levitt. They're very talented pitchers, but facing an Emily Kennedy left-handed pitcher in Game 1 who just scattered 4 hits and had those 7 strikeouts, a left-handed All-American throwing 70 is who they faced in Game 1.
Speaking of lefties, Lily Backus back in the circle for Georgia. Only program in America right now with 2 lefties to throw 80-plus innings.
Good job, Allie.
That is what Lily Backus and Randy Rolling have done this year for Tony Baldwin's Georgia Bulldogs. Meanwhile, Allie Enright at the dish and a 1-1 count. It's an A&M team that is, after their Game 1 victory, now 11-5 against top 25 opponents. They have one of the best RPI rankings in the country with 14 wins against top 50 RPI teams. They have put together a tremendous resume this year. That's why you see number 4 next to their name this afternoon.
They've just been consistent. No bad losses up to this point for them.
Enright blasts the 2-2 to center. Drifting back is Goodnight and makes the catch against the wall.
That ball just continued to carry, didn't it? looked like it was just going to be a routine fly ball to center field, and because the wind just continues to blow a little bit out, I think it got up in the jet stream, and Dallas Goodnight just does not give up on it. Look at her track this ball back. She thought it was going to be about right there. It kept going. So into the wall she goes and comes away with the catch. You could tell where she thought that ball was going to end up because she kind of stopped and was like, oh, I got to keep running back.
Uh-oh, KK Dement to deep right field, and that will stop at the track. A 1-2-3 inning with 3 fly balls, and the home crowd packing the jack. Loving it tonight in Athens. Place so much of their production, Amanda, with either A, freshmen, or B, players who have been in the program but have never been in primary positions before. And they've seen a bit of a roller coaster SEC slate. Ups and downs, but boy, did they came out firing on all cylinders here in Game 2 against Texas A&M.
Almost all of the opponents that they played in SEC play up to this point have been top 10 teams. They started with Tennessee and having to face Carlin Pickens, and then they had to go play in South Carolina, which, by the way, if you've not been following the SEC, you're used to seeing South Carolina more toward the bottom of the standings, and now South Carolina this year, a top 10 team. Then they played LSU, and then a midweek against Oklahoma State, and then at Alabama, who is not a top 10 team, but one of the hardest places to play at in the country.
And though they haven't won any of those series, they've been in most games. We talked about that a little bit in the first inning, but Tony Baldwin told us they feel like they've been right there on the cusp of the game going their way. It hasn't to this point, on a strikeout of Newell Williams. That is now 3 consecutive strikeouts for Emily Levitt, coming into the game to replace Grace Sparks with 1 down in the first inning. She'll now take on the 9-hitter Paisley Allen.
And I think too, I mean, looking at the pitchers that they faced on those teams, mentioned Carlin Pickens, but then having to face Sydney Berzon at LSU, and then Emily Kennedy in Game 1 today, and then Ruby Malin. I mean, that's all just in the past 3 or 4 weeks, but those at bats and preparing for them at practice and pregame and seeing them in real life only makes them better.
Foul ball off the bat of Paisley Allen.
Talking about some of the best pitchers in the country, and they're all very different. All 4 of those pitchers are just so different. So it's not like you can prepare for Carlin Pickens and she's just like Emily Kennedy, or prepare for Sydney Berzon and she's just like Ruby Malin. They're all so different.
Check swing, and according to Scott Mayer, Paisley Allen went around. 4 straight strikeouts for Emily Levitt, 2 down in the second inning.
Curveball that's not only moving away from her but down, and that's actually a good call. Live, I didn't think that she went, but seeing how quickly she whipped that barrel back trying to hide it, I think that was a good call.
Now back to the top of the order for Georgia, Tyler Ellison.
This could be one of those situations. I don't know with 100% certainty because I did not prepare for A&M this week with Georgia when they were hitting in the cages, but it could be maybe they're not as prepared for Emily Levitt because of the depth of A&M's pitching staff. You have so many different arms to prepare for. You know that you're going to see Emily Kennedy when you prepare for Grace Sparks and Sydney Peters and the freshman Sydney Lessentine. Emily Levitt has only thrown about 23 innings this season, so maybe not expecting her to be the one that comes in, and she's really taking advantage of it with how she's working in relief.
Again, just her 2nd appearance in an SEC series this year. Ellison backhanded at third, bobbled by Powell, but the throw is in time, and Levitt has set down 5 in a row coming out of the bullpen. 4-0 Georgia in Athens. Conference home series in nearly 20 years to Tennessee.
We're used to seeing Oklahoma be nearly perfect the past 4 years with back-to-back-to-back-to-back national championships the past 4 years. And you saw that Ohio State has hit 94 home runs. They lead Division I. And second place is actually Oklahoma, who had hit 71. Not quite updated. You just never know when, but they're in second place. So first place, 94. Second place, 71 home runs with Oklahoma, who really got challenged this past week after losing their first game of the season in Columbia to Missouri. Then they had to go and play Wichita State at Wichita State in a midweek game. And Matt, that final score was 19-16. That was the final score. Most runs allowed in a game since 2019. And also then they played Tennessee at home, which snapped their home game win streak that they had going on. One of the toughest places to play is in Norman.
Even with everyone Oklahoma replaced, after winning their 4th consecutive Women's College World Series, they still, Amanda, started the year on a 28-game win streak. Pretty impressive.
Their first game until they lost to Missouri and Columbia, which is another tough place to play. I used to hate going and playing there.
Olivia Johnson goes down looking. First strikeout of the game for Lily Backus, 1 away in the 3rd.
Nice little change piece here on the outside corner, right at the knees, just freezes Olivia Johnson. This is what Backus can do with that pitch. Floats it in there, gets a nice frame by Miller. Starts off this inning with a leadoff strikeout.
And now Kramer Este in the 9 spot. Well, look, one of the big topics of conversation this year, not only in this sport but across the country in any sport, has been conference realignment. SEC softball has always been loaded, even more loaded now that Texas and Oklahoma have joined the ranks as Este sprays it through the left side, and the first base knock of the day for Texas A&M.
I kind of feel like even if you hadn't have added Texas and Oklahoma, who were the 2 teams that played for the national championship last year, by the way, to the same conference, even if you hadn't have added them this year, I still feel like the depth of the SEC is stronger than it's ever been. And then you do add them, and it's like unbelievably strong.
Back to the top of the order now for A&M, Kennedy Powell. Into center, it will find the grass. Back-to-back base knocks for the Aggies.
It's a great read by Kramer Este. She saw that ball in the air, but she had a really good awareness of where Dallas Goodnight was at, if she was going to be able to get to it, because easily Kramer Este could have retreated back to first or been a little bit too timid, but got a really good read and was able to get to second base instead of closer to first and then getting thrown out of force out at second base after it dropped.
Were you surprised to see Oklahoma drop the series to Tennessee?
Yes, and it's because I had seen
And A&M on the board for the first time tonight.
good job by Amari Harper, swinging early in the count, looked like an off-speed pitch that had a lot of plate on it. That ball was right down the heart of it. She is somewhat on time, maybe a little bit out in front, so it's a soft hit ball out to right field to give Kramer Este an extra chance, extra time, I should say, to score from second base. But this Texas A&M team is going to push the limit when it comes to taking extra bases. They run the bases very well. They're always looking to take extra 60 feet. If there is a question of stay at third or go, they're 9 times out of 10 going to push the limit and send the runner to score. And they're so good at taking any extra base, but one thing that sticks out to me is these slide bys that they have at home. Look at this slide around the tag that multiple players at Texas A&M can do. They get really low, they go to the backside of the bag, and they make themselves almost impossible to tag. This is a slide that they do all the time, and why they push the limit is because they are good at plays like this. A&M, or slides like this. A&M is not going to be a team that hits a lot of home runs, but because they're aggressive on the base pass and not scared to push the limit, they score additional runs in that way. This is the one that we just saw by Kramer Eshte. Wasn't close, but she's still going in, thinking about sliding to the backside of the bag. There are 4 or 5 players for A&M that all can do that. They're a very athletic team.
Trisha Ford told us they watch video of base running, not only of their own team, but of other teams that they admire at all levels, and practice base running with intent. The 1-1 to Maya Perez.
Can I tell you something that I was not doing in college?
Practicing base running.
Okay, well, we did have to practice base running, and nobody really wanted to ever, right? But we did not watch video. Don't get down or scared to lose. Whenever they do get down, they just fight back. And Maya Perez, you challenge her on the inner half, she gets her barrel to that pitch. And think about Matt, she had not hit a home run off of a left-handed pitcher until earlier today off of rolling. And now 2 home runs for Maya Perez in the doubleheader today, both off of left-handed pitchers, and 1 to left field, 1 to right field. Maya Perez, one of the best hitters in the country.
It is a whole new ball game here in Athens. And now Maya Perez has 4 home runs in her last 4 games. Passes the bat to Mac Barbara. Still only 1 out here in the top of the 3rd. Second time through the order has looked a lot different for Texas A&M. Roped to 3rd, and Buell Williams will be shaking her hand off after the heat off that ball. 2 down.
They don't call it the hot corner for nothing. I mean, even she's playing just even beyond the third base bag, and that ball got on her in a hurry. Now she's going to scoot up a little bit with the speed of Coco Woolley, but look how she's well beyond the third base bag, and that still got on her very quickly. So you saw for a power hitter like Mac Barbara, she was playing a little bit behind third base, and now with the speed of Coco Woolley, she's playing a couple of steps in front of the bag.
Woolley, though, into deep left field, and it's out of the reach of Jaden Goodwin in foul.
Which this is why it's so hard as a third baseman or anybody in the infield to figure out how to play a player like Coco Woolley when she's up at the box, because in game 1, she showed slap more times than not as Goodwin ran really hard into the fence to try to track that ball down. Alice Goodnight is checking on her. Great effort by her out in left field.
If that ball is fair, Woolley is on 3rd easily and maybe a round tripper if it ricochets appropriately. Oh, 1 to Woolley. 2 down and the base is clear.
But this is why it's so difficult to play her, because she has so many tools. So that first hit down the left field line, she keeps her feet still and almost hits it 195 feet to get out of here. But then she shows bunt. So now the corners are going to be in, anticipating something in front of them. And now she keeps her feet still to swing away again. But she can also slap, which is what she went to almost every at bat in game 1. So she's so dynamic, and as an infielder, you are constantly just trying to figure her out and try to guess what she's going to do. Because look, Tyler Ellison playing 6 or 7 feet in front of first base, and then Woolley pulls it down the first baseline with power hard. It's a nightmare, an absolute nightmare when you have the tools and speed like Coco Woolley to defend it.
Full count now to Woolley, who had an 8-game hit streak snapped in the midweek win against Prairie View A&M. After moving down in the lineup, after primarily being in the leadoff spot, bounces it to first. Ellison taps the bag, but A&M.
What a play. I mean, that's a freshman making a play like that.
Has started all but one game this year at either shortstop or second base, KK Dement. And in the words of her head coach, Tricia Ford, incredibly mature.
Coco Woolley, her fellow shortstop next to her, talked about KK Dement and just how she noticed right away how fundamentally sound KK Dement was defensively. They work together well as middles cover a lot of ground with their speed.
3-0 to Lindy Ray Davis. Tricia Ford, Conference Coach of the Year in 2 different leagues, Pac-12 and Mountain West, and has injected success and winning into this Texas A&M program in 3 short years. Taking A&M to the Super Regional last year. A run away from making the Women's College World Series. It was their first trip to a Super since 2018. 3-1 to Davis. There's a 1-out walk drawn by the starting DP.
Matt, every new level that your program gets to grabs more attention from recruits and travel ball teams and travel ball coaches. So when you make it to Supers, then when you're out on the recruiting trail in the summer, more coaches want to come talk to you. You're getting more attention from fans and that are out and about and different players who are now interested in your program. Then when you make it to the World Series, it's a whole new level. But every level that you take a step up not only affects the confidence of your team and what they believe that they can do, but it also affects your recruiting ability and the attention that you get from better players.
Well, to your point, the pitching staff alone for Texas A&M this year is a great example of that. Much deeper as a staff this year. They can use 6 different arms. It's allowed Emily Kennedy not to throw nearly as many innings as she did last year. As this is roped right to Woolley, and they try to double up the runner at first, and they do. Davis can't get back in time, and Woolley completes. Last was back in 2017. And as we alluded to earlier, they were on the cusp last year of doing the unthinkable, taking down top seed Texas in the Austin Super. You were there for that. 3 one-run games. They won 1 of those. Lost game 3 in heartbreaking fashion.
Well, and Coach Ford pointed out to us that, in that Super Regional, nobody had been there before.
Right.
Nobody had played in a Super Regional before, and they still competed like that. Winning game 1, went on to lose to Texas, who would make it to the Champ Series against Oklahoma.
Strikeout of Dement. And with that, Amanda, yes, they do replace 5 positional starters, but they bring back a nice core from last year. And what Tricia Ford told us is that this series created a hunger in this program that she had not yet experienced as the head coach in College Station. A hunger to take this program where it has not been since any of these players have been part of it.
Doing a good job of getting them there and seeing that they can win and compete in that situation. It just grows the confidence going into the season of wanting more. You get a taste of it and how close you are, and they ended up losing, right? But they won game 1. It was just, we keep talking about it because it was just one of the most epic Super Regionals that we've ever seen in 20 years. And the fact that they were the 16 seed playing the 1 seed, won game 1, had them on the ropes. I mean, that just doesn't happen all the time. And they were right there, and it gave them a ton of confidence to build into this year.
Kramer Este floats it to the left side, and Digby will make the catch. Lily Backus pitches around a leadoff single. Tied at 4-20 showdown.
Just never know what you're going to get. Run rolling game 1, and then this kind of game in game 2. And each team putting up a 4 spot in 2 different innings.
Chopper to third. Powell to first, one away. Boy, Emily Levitt has come in and done a fantastic job out of the Texas A&M bullpen, pitching in just her second SEC series of the year, Amanda. Still has not allowed a hit.
Yeah, she's looked really good and had her teammate Grace Sparks' back ready to go in, looking like it's going to be a full pitching staff game for Texas A&M. Even Emily Kennedy was warming up in the bullpen, as well as Sydney Lessentine. And we were wondering in game one, after Emily Kennedy just threw 108 pitches, was very efficient, only one walk, if maybe we might just see her in game two. Was warming up earlier, and now A&M has tied it. I would not be surprised at all to see the All-American come in late in this game.
0-1, Emily Digby misses upstairs. Now Digby had a 7-game hit streak snapped in the midweek loss to Mercer. That is what Georgia is trying to bounce back from in this series against A&M. After beating Oklahoma State and picking up a win in the series against Alabama, they've since dropped 4 in a row. Number of those games close, although game one, as you just mentioned, a run rule defeat. Wondered what kind of response we would see from Tony Baldwin's young Georgia Bulldogs team. They've answered the bell.
Giving themselves a chance right out of the gate. I mean, that's what you wanted to do after getting run rolled, was score early in the first inning, get the momentum on your side. And it was like momentum and then some, with extra intensity, with that call being called back and Coach Baldwin getting thrown out of the game. Fired up his team, though. And the difference, as you alluded to, has been Emily Levitt coming into this game to shut down their momentum and their offense. She's done a great job of mixing pitches around and not leaving too much over the heart of the plate where they can attack it.
She has set down 8 of 9 batters faced. Only Lindy Ray Davis reached. That was on a walk back in the third. We've talked a bit about Georgia's youth. The young lady at the plate right now, Emily Digby, is the leader of their infield, Tony Baldwin says. As a sophomore, starting at shortstop for the first time in her collegiate career. She played all 62 games last year at first base. The 2-2 from Levitt.
Well,
Spoiled by Digby.
In large part because they had Ellie Armistead holding down that
Yes.
position for so many years. So she's so versatile. They were able to put her over at first base and know that they'd have athleticism at that first base position to add some athleticism over to the right side. And they really liked her bat, even as a freshman. Got a lot of experience in her freshman year and can swing it.
Snared on a rope by Powell, 2 down. Well, tomorrow night's Sunday night baseball matchup is the series finale between the Cardinals and the Red Sox. Game time is at 7 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern with baseball tonight. Sunday night countdown.
I think Devers is starting to hit it a little bit after a really slow start. Red Sox.
I'm just hoping my Cardinals can make a run at the playoffs this year.
Think they have a chance, or what's the word?
They spoiled me during my childhood. Runs to the playoffs were just common. It was, okay, can we make the World Series this year? Yeah, there's always a chance.
Especially right now.
Come on.
Everybody has a chance right now.
Well, we talked about Digby starting at shortstop. Marissa Miller, this is her first year starting exclusively at catcher. And when you think about it, Amanda, including Marissa Miller behind the plate, it's not inaccurate to say that the entire infield for Georgia is new, because Digby slid from first to short. Two down, base is empty in the 1-2. Usage at the plate way up as a result of being in the starting lineup nearly every day. 2-2 misses wide, and a full count now with 2 down to Marissa Miller.
It's another example of a player for Georgia that didn't have a ton of experience coming into this season that they're really relying on. And you know these players too, with getting to play every day, they're getting better. The experience only makes you better and breeds success later on.
Whoa, that one got away from Levitt, and she comes up hobbly. It results in a 2-out walk. And now time called on the infield. Here comes Trisha Ford.
Okay, so this has happened to me before. And I think I know what happened here is that out of her hand, it actually hit her stride knee. Okay, so she's going to stride out. And you're wondering why the ball went behind the hitter. And it's because it hit off of her leg when she released it. And
how does that feel?
Terrible. And she's definitely going to have a bruise. And this has happened to me before. I think every pitcher at some point has felt this. Or at least I'm going to tell myself that, because I know I have. And now I know I'm not alone with Emily Levitt.
Exactly.
But it is quite a shock, too, because you're definitely not expecting the ball to come out of your hand and into your leg at full speed.
That doesn't sound comfortable.
It's not.
50th pitch of the afternoon for Levitt is hit off the heel of the glove of Powell at third, and the inning continues for Georgia.
All right, now a couple of free passes. I'm going to call that an error. It might go down as a hit, but it's another play that should be made by the Texas A&M infield. So a free pass with a walk, a misplayed ball, and now Georgia has 2 on. Their opportunity in this tie game for pressure on A&M's defense.
And they are going to promptly put Molly Mitchell at second base to run for Marissa Miller.
See Mike Davenport, as they call him, Davo, new to this coaching staff. He was a head coach at North Georgia for 24 seasons and won 2 D2 national championships. So a ton of head coaching experience with Tony Baldwin. No longer out here on the field. I mean, you just pick up right where he left off with this coaching staff that they have at Davo.
Two on, 2 out for Paisley Allen. Up the middle, at short, fielded by Woolley, and in time. So Levitt pitches around 2 bases.
For Coach Alameda in a lot of different ways. And one way in particular was a lot of the ACC schools with this pink ribbon that you're used to seeing, but with the addition of the braid that symbolizes Lonnie Alameda's long hair braid that she'd had for so long. Now she has some shorter hair that's chopped to about her shoulders, but the softball world just has been rallying around Coach Alameda this week and just giving her a big hug from as many different angles as we possibly can.
Well, Lonnie Alameda, one of the great people in collegiate sports, not just in softball. I had a chance to meet her for the first time in person this year at the Clearwater Invitational. We had a chance to speak with her for about 30 minutes pregame. And she acted as if she had known me all our lives. Just a warm human being. Our thoughts and prayers are with Lonnie and her family as she continues this battle against breast cancer.
She treats everybody like that, whether you played for her, coached with her, or not. She is there for everybody else in the softball world.
2-0 misses wide. Snap throw down to second by Marissa Miller. That's how much respect opposing catchers have for Kennedy Powell. She is perfect this year. 15 for 15 in stolen base attempts.
Yeah, did a couple of hard steps, kind of fake to steal.
She was going with that pitch. It gets past the outstretched glove of Williams, and both runners are safe. Sort of a seeing eye single off the bat of Amari Harper, and now 2 on to start the 5th for A&M.
Tough decision there too, and the play is developing so quickly, but there was actually a play at second base. So Digby fields this ball easily, could have gotten the force out at second base to Allen. You can't even see Kennedy Powell in the picture, but instead she goes to first. A great hustle by Amari Harper all day. There's been a couple of close plays with her down the line, but her hustle has made her safe a couple of times.
So now the most dangerous hitter in either lineup, Maya Perez, who has already homered twice in this series. Solo homer in game 1, 3-run blast to tie it at 4. Back in the 3rd here of game 2.
So much in her preparation and getting into the best shape that she's ever been in her life. Coach Ford has nothing but good things to say about Maya Perez. The hitter that she is, that she recruited, that she had her ups and downs last season as a freshman, just a tough transition for her, but Coach Ford never lost belief in the type of hitter that she knew that Maya Perez could be.
Hitters count at 3-1, 2 on, nobody out. And a strike catches the outside corner to run it full.
Man, Lilyback has got the call there. That looked like it was a little bit off the plate. Should have been ball 4, but gets her right back into the count against Maya Perez. See if she goes back to that curveball again or changes speeds.
Upstairs, ball 4, and the bases loaded for A&M in the 5th. Now Lilyback has got into some trouble in the 3rd against this part of the order. Powell, Harper, and Perez, all 3 reaching in a row in back-to-back times at the plate. And we're going to have a pinch runner come over at first base for Perez. It'll be Scott Lavelle. So the base is loaded for Mac Barbara. Another hitter you don't want to miss too in this A&M monster lineup. And she ropes it off the glove at first of Ellison. 2 will score for the Aggies, who take their first lead of the game.
Mac Barbara swings early in the count. Ellison playing about a step in front of the bag, but just out of her reach. It hits off of her glove in fair territory. It lands in foul territory. So it is indeed a fair ball and a couple of runs scored for A&M to give them the lead.
The comeback kids, never out of it. A&M trailed 4-zip early. And now lead by 2 with still 2 on and nobody out in the 5th. Haley Golden will come in a pinch run at first for Barbara as Coco Woolley digs in.
They moved Coco Woolley down in the lineup to the 5-hole. She had been their everyday leadoff hitter, but it was just a gut feeling that Coach Ford told us. Coach Harger, the third base coach and hitting coach, came into her office and said, I think that we need to move Coco into more of an RBI situation. Moved her down to the 5 spot, and A&M's offense has been hot ever since. And she is more of a power hitter this year in her senior year. Her freshman year, which is the spray chart on the left, she was all slapper all the time and use her short game. And now in 2025, look at her spray chart and how much deeper she's driving the ball in the alleys, using more of the field. She has some pop from the left-hand side. And even when she said she was a slapper growing up, she was always more of a power slapper. So there you see her run through the box, but oftentimes she'll keep her feet still and swing away. And she said in her mind, she's a power hitter, like Maya and Mac. At least, you know, that's what she tells herself.
Goes chasing that pitch. And a strikeout for the first out of the inning.
Has not had a great day at the plate today. Chasing a lot, has had some opportunities. I'm sure kicking herself for swinging at that changeup in the dirt, but that is exactly, if you were Lily Backus, what you want her to do. Great job by Miller, too, to keep that ball in front, to give Backus the confidence to bury that pitch in the dirt and be able to get Willie.
Third strikeout for Backus. And pegs the outer half for a strike against Allie Enright. Boy, has she been hot. Batting in the 6th spot for A&M. Hits in 6 of the last 7 games for Enright. And one of those players that came back with an intense hunger to bring this team to Oklahoma City. Launches this to deep center field. Back on it is good night. Kiss it goodbye. 3-run shot for Allie Enright. Have a day, Allie Enright.
4th home run of the day for Texas A&M, this time off the bat of Enright, who just gets one right down the heart of the plate. Off the bat with the location and the swing, Lily Backus knew dead center field. A&M has been spraying these home runs to all parts of the field. Let that pitch travel, saw the mistake, extended the lead for A&M.
That will do it for Lily Backus. The bats have come alive for Texas A&M, both in the 3rd and again here in the 5th. They have scored 9 unanswered after trailing by 4.
And 11 of their 17 runs scored today have been via home runs. And when you look at A&M and SEC categories, A&M is not one of the best home run hitting teams in the SEC. That is not their usual way of scoring, but the bats have come alive here in Georgia, and maybe they're just saving this power until later in the season.
Well, they made their adjustments against Lily Backus 2nd and 3rd time through the order. And will now take on Rachel Gibson with the bases empty in the top of the 5th and 1 down.
And Rachel Gibson is going to have a great changeup, which is exactly what Georgia needs to throw against A&M right now with how they're squaring things up. And I mean, Lily Backus had a great changeup as well. But that Rachel Gibson's going to need to rely on that changeup to keep mixing against a hot-hitting A&M team who's already had 9 hits on the board today.
In steps KK Dement in the 7th spot. Launch to left field. No doubt about it. Dement into the seats. Whoa. A grand slam in game 1 and now a solo shot in game 2 for the freshman KK Dement.
One thing that A&M has done well, more innings than not, is just have such good pitch recognition. When they've swung at strikes and not chased out of the zone, they've made these Georgia pitchers come more on the heart of the plate, and they have not missed many times. When Georgia has made a mistake there, they have been ready to hit it.
What a turn in the 5th. From a tie game to a 6-run lead for A&M, who's now thinking, well, can we get 2-run rule victories in the doubleheader of day one in this series.
Well, with every run scored as well that extends their lead, Coach Ford is thinking about different pitching decisions she'll make. Emily Levitt is in and just thinking about, okay, who might need to come in and finish this game? Do I want to give Sydney Lessentine some time, the freshman? Do I want to give Emily Kennedy to come in and close this game? But as the lead extends, it might give the freshman Lessentine a chance to get into this game.
Well, we chatted with Trisha Ford about what she saw from her team second time through the order against Lily Backus. More calm at the plate, better pitch selection. Boy, has that played out as the game has gone along. They have looked like a totally different offense from the third inning on.
And it's the difference maker for every offense across the country. You need to be on time. First, you need to pick a good pitch to hit, and then you need to get on time with it. And I mean, we can make hitting really difficult, but if you talk to any hitting coach, those are the two things that you need to do up at the plate. Pick a good pitch to hit and get on time with it. And that's what A&M has done when they've had success today.
Eshte fly ball left field, tracking. Only other SEC appearance this year was at Auburn. 1 inning pitched, walked 2, struck out 1, didn't allow a run. The way she has commanded this game, you'd think this is old hat for Emily Levitt.
Yeah, Coach Ford talked about her in the fall earlier on in the season, saying that she was lights out in the fall. She worked on a drop ball in the offseason to throw that pitch with command. Already came in from Minnesota, where she got a ton of experience as a freshman, where it was just her and one other pitcher who literally had to pitch in every game. So she did get a lot of experience then, and has now come to a deeper staff and a tougher conference and hasn't seen as much action, but is just absolutely making the most of her outing today.
Hitters count to the leadoff hitter, Tyler Ellison. Punches this into right field, tailing foul and in and out of the glove of Amari Harper. What an effort in right field. And just couldn't quite squeeze it to make the out.
It's right there in her glove, didn't it look like? She dove, and then when she hit the ground, maybe it popped out, or she never got a good squeeze on it. Remember, again, with her glove hand, her left hand, she's playing with a broken pointer finger, which sometimes can affect how tightly you can squeeze your glove. So not saying that that's the case, but just saying she is an athlete playing with a broken finger and excelling still despite it.
We asked Trisha Ford, how's the finger? Still healing. And yet, Mari Harper starting in right field, has a cannon of an arm, and was on one of the best heaters that this team has seen all year at the plate. 11 game on base streak, which included a handful of doubles. Ellison goes down swinging. 5th strikeout for Emily Levitt, 1 away.
Emily Levitt hadn't had a strikeout since the second inning. Been finding ways to get outs in different ways, but this is a low rise ball that she gets Ellison to swing and miss on. Swings right underneath it.
And now Dallas Goodnight. Everyone drawn in for the speedy center fielder. 1 to Goodnight, the second-year Alabama transfer from the state of Georgia. Coming off a monster season at the plate last year, hit .351 with 14 runs batted in. And Tony Baldwin told us she had her best offseason since transferring over to Georgia. Increased her strength in the weight room and has taken on a leadership role now as a senior. Hitters count at 3-1. And draws a 1-out walk. Well, here's our Week 2 UFL matchups tonight over on ABC. The DC Defenders hosting the Memphis Showboats 8 Eastern, then Sunday on ESPN. It's Houston and Arlington at high noon. Both games also on the Plus. Count to Lindy Ray Davis. Launches this into right field, and Goodnight will stay put on a strong throw in by Amari Harper.
That was a beautiful swing by Lindy Ray Davis. We talked about earlier in her at bat against Grace Sparks. She's really good down in the zone, but this is a pitch that is down in the zone. More of a miss, about a ball and a half on the plate, and a veteran like Davis is just going to get all into that pitch. Well played by Amari Harper, too, by the way. Knowing the speed of Dallas Goodnight, kind of a do-or-die play that she made it out in right field, kept Goodnight at second base because that hit got to her in a hurry.
Well, you like having Jaden Goodwin at the plate with runners on. Coming into the series, has put the ball in play 88% of the time she's come to the plate this year. She does here, but right at Perez, only play at first. That advances both runners into scoring position for Sarah Gordon.
It's a well-struck ball again off of Emily Levitt. It's a luxury, though, of A&M extending that lead, putting up 6 runs in the top of the 5th inning, is that you can continue to keep Emily Levitt out there and hide Sydney Lesentine, maybe not throw her in this game, maybe not bring Emily Kennedy in relief, the All-American who we saw in Game 1, the ace of the staff. When you extend your lead up to 6 runs, now you have a little wiggle room with how you want to work your pitching staff to set you up for success for Game 3 on Monday.
Well, you just said the word that I feel has been a buzzword this year, maybe more than any other year that I've worked in this sport, and that is staff when it comes to pitching. More and more, Amanda, we're seeing that, particularly amongst Power 4 teams.
There just in general is not as dominant of aces all across the country as maybe there once was that could throw complete game after complete game. You're having to rely on a deeper pitching staff behind your ace. Have some different looks. Everybody needs to look a little different. You can't have everybody look like Emily Kennedy and have 5 pitchers that look like her. You need some variety with the pitching staff that you have in order to keep these offenses off balance.
2-2 to Gordon, who has already homered in this game. A solo shot back in the first. A 4-run first for Georgia. They have been held quiet since by Emily Levitt. Working on her 6th strikeout with 2 on and 2 down. Bouncing ball to third. Powell, a strong throw, and it's bobbled by Perez. Georgia plates 1, and up to third goes Lindy Ray Davis.
And Kennedy Powell has this ball hit to her, and I think she thought there was a force at third base, so she just stepped on the base and didn't even give Davis, the base runner, a time of day, and then throws it across the diamond, I think, thinking that she was going to turn a double play. And instead, A&M doesn't come away with any outs.
So now 2 down, runners at the corners for Emily Digby.
But the weird part about that is that there are already 2 outs, and she still stepped on third to throw it across to first base. So again, I think that we've talked about this, Matt. A&M's infield defense has just not been very sharp. I think this is a prime example of maybe not remembering how many outs there are, not remembering where the base runners are, just kind of losing a lack of focus in that moment when Georgia gave you an out. All you had to do was not even worry about touching third, but just throw it to first base. Instead, it leads to a Georgia run.
We may see a pinch hitter here for Georgia, potentially. Due up is the shortstop, Emily Digby, with 2 on and 2 out. A 5-run deficit in the 5th. Now JT D'Amico's going to come out of the dugout, and in fact, we will have a pinch hitter. Taya Charlton, who is celebrating a birthday this evening. A freshman from Lynchburg, Virginia. She'd love to give herself and her team a birthday gift here with a base knock.
We got to take a tour of Georgia's beautiful new facility behind left field, and we got to take a peek into the incredible locker room, and there was some birthday letters and, you know, decor that was down the ground. We're like, whose birthday is it? But yeah, we got to take a peek in there. Unbelievable weight room, their locker room, their hitting facility, everything is just top notch and beyond. $38.5 million spent on this new softball training facility for the Dogs.
Their lounge is a place that I would just camp out.
It looks like a co-working space with how big it is. Which
tour. A little less glamorous in there than the pictures we showed you.
A little more dirty, but everything else is spotless.
Really, really impressive. And of course, Georgia will host the SEC tournament later on this year, right here at Jack Turner Stadium. 3-1 count to Taya Charlton.
Which you think about the teams that get to come here and play in Athens, you know that they're loving the fact that they get to come here and play on this field and prepare for the SEC tournament in May. All 15 teams will be here in Athens, so get your tickets. Head on out to the SEC tournament, May 6th through 10th. It'll be a doozy.
First time hosting in nearly 20 years in this ballpark. 3-2.
Well, you know it rotates.
Yes.
From place to place. So there's not just one place like the SEC baseball. It's always in Hoover, Alabama.
Right.
But the softball tournament rotates. So it's Georgia's turn. And so I feel like every time somebody is about to host, their facilities get a makeover.
It's almost like the Olympics.
Yeah,
like you spend millions getting it ready for the biggest event that you'll be hosting in this case 20 years. And they're pumped about it here. Already an attendance record this season and still some games left to play. Runners at the corners, 2 down and a 3-2 from Levitt.
You know, there are only 2 errors on the board for A&M, but I feel like if you're really getting down to it, you could have 4 or 5 errors up there for them. Mental errors, drop balls that don't necessarily go down as an error.
Hey, make sure we're backing each other up.
A great bat by Charlton.
Off the bench.
Off the bench.
Didn't swing the stick in game 1. And just continues to fight here in the 5th with a chance to cut into this 5-run deficit.
Home run could just get them right back in it.
Pitch 80 coming from Emily Levitt. Charlton up the middle, fielded by Woolley. A race to the bag is in time, and that will end the inning. Georgia gets one back, but they trail by 5 after 5 at Athens. And so now the inning is officially over. Georgia strands 2. And they trail by 5 after a 5-run 5th. Man, what a crazy game it has been, honestly. It started with an ejection in the first inning of Tony Baldwin. 2 runs being wiped off the board for Georgia. Then they ultimately played at 4 in that inning. They led 4-0. And since then, it has been Trisha Ford's Texas A&M Aggies that have dominated this game, both offensively and in the circle. So in Florida right now, battling it out in a really competitive series. LSU and Alabama, of course, in a great rivalry. And Amanda, you talked about it earlier. Regardless of whether or not Oklahoma and Texas would have joined the league this year, it still would have been incredible. But the fact that we have the teams that played each other in the World Series last year, the team that's won 4 in a row in the league, makes it all the more entertaining every single weekend.
And Texas still has, I mean, everybody has tough games coming up, but Texas still has Tennessee coming up and LSU. They already had played Florida, which was a great series earlier on in SEC play. So, and they have to play, Texas plays Oklahoma as well. So in the SEC in softball, you don't play everybody. You play a mix of teams, but you do not play all 14 other teams. And so your schedule can really vary. There could be a variety, right? You just kind of mix it up every year.
But regardless, there are no weekends off in this conference.
Rachel Gibson changeup is really making an impact on these A&M hitters. She came in last inning and they gave up a home run to KK Dement. They got a couple of outs right after that. Now 2 quick outs here because that changeup is working.
There you go, Maya.
Tony Baldwin, a baseball guy, played college baseball. Compared Rachel Gibson to the great Trevor Hoffman, because she can throw an off-speed pitch 10 times in a row and it's still tough to hit. Maya Perez, though, is one tough out, batting .455 with 2 homers in 2 games in this series.
And the 2 home runs are to 2 different areas of the ballpark. This is an outside pitch that she drives to left field, goes with it, and then gets an inside pitch and still gets her barrel to it. Dead right field for that one. That just shows you the power that Maya Perez has to all fields. But Rachel Gibson gets her this time and gets to Katie in the inning.
1, 2, 3 for Rachel Gibson. On to the bottom of the 6th.
Non-conference schedule, which increased their overall strength of schedule on the year.
New pitcher into the game for Texas A&M. Sydney Lesson team will replace Emily Levitt.
Freshman that's done really well in the innings that she's had all throughout the season. One more follow-up thing on the RPI. RPI with that ranking is different than the rankings that you see next to your favorite team, who might be ranked number 4 like Texas A&M or 16 like Georgia. The rankings are like a poll of people who vote for the top 25 polls. The RPI is more of an equation, an algorithm that factors in strength of schedule and win percentage and your opponent's strength of schedule. So there's a lot that goes in to RPI, but it's really one of the biggest factors that the selection committee will look at when they're ready to make the full bracket, when they're ready to name the top 16 seeds. So your win percentage, strength of schedule, and the opponent's strength of schedule all go in to RPI.
And for A&M, they are working on their 14th win against a top 50 RPI team this year. They have put together quite a resume. Still a lot of season left. 3 SEC series plus midweeks before we get to tournament play. But they're doing everything they can to get that coveted top 8 seed and host a super regional.
It's a huge deal to have a chance to host a super. Now, of course, you have to host the regional, or you have to not only host the regional, but win the regional that you host. But you win the regional and you're a top 8 seed, you're going to host a super.
1-1 to the freshman, Mua Williams.
We were talking about this before, but A&M hasn't hosted a super regional since 2008, which was my senior year, and we played Stanford. And guess who was the pitching coach for that Stanford team who we played in 2008? You're looking at her, Trisha Ford. 2008, that was a great year. Last time they won a conference title, the Big 12 that year.
Who would have known then that Trisha Ford would now be at the helm at Texas A&M? And really like infusing a resurgence of this program. Finished 3rd last year in the SEC. Highest finish since joining the Southeastern Conference. After being picked 8th. This year picked 5th. Right now towing that line between 3rd and 4th.
The SEC is so deep. I mean, there are going to be very good teams finish 7th, 8th, and 9th in the conference and beyond. So if you win the conference this year, it's really going to be something special with the depth, with adding Texas and OU. But if you finish in the top 4 and the top 5, you're feeling really good about your team.
Oh, and even a team right now like Georgia, looking at a 4-9 record in the league. We talked about this in game 1, Amanda, but you know, Tony Baldwin's last year as an assistant, they didn't have the greatest season, particularly during the regular season, but they got hot at the end of the year and made a run to the Women's College World Series. 2 down on the strikeout of Mua Williams. Well, speaking of making runs,
Lost to Arizona State. Oh, amazing memories.
I like that little fist pump.
Oh, yeah.
Off the rubber. I didn't peg you as somebody that would, you know, show the emotion on your sleeve.
Oh, you get a good strikeout in a big moment, I'm definitely giving you a fist pump. Not all the time, but I pick my moments.
Maybe you're a fiercer competitor than I gave you credit for.
I do. I'm a little bit of a sleeper when it comes to competitiveness. I'm not an in-your-face competitor, like I got to beat you. I'm a quiet competitor, and I do want to win.
0-2 count. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strike. 4-0. They then scored 10 unanswered runs, Amanda. What a flip by this A&M team, particularly the 2nd and 3rd time through the order against Lily Backus.
Just making some adjustments against her, and Rachel Gibson entered this game and has looked really strong. They have to feel good about the way that she's come in relief and has looked the past couple of weeks, getting more time.
Barbara into center and caught by Dallas Goodnight.
The difference maker to me when you look at A&M's offense in the 2 innings that they scored in the 3rd and in the 5th is that Kennedy Powell got on base. I feel like when Kennedy Powell, their leadoff hitter, gets on base, good things happen for the rest of their offense. And it's usually the case for any leadoff hitter, right? But in today's game, I gave 2 of the doubleheader. That's definitely been the case.
Coco Woolley, you talked about it, Amanda, one of the most dynamic hitters in the country, not just because of her speed, but the combination of power, her ability to slap or hit away. And Trisha Ford told us that she's not sure she's coached a more athletic player in her career than Coco Woolley. The 1-2. Woolley chops it, charging in from third is Williams, and cannot make the play in time. Woolley beats it out for her first single of the series.
And Coco has a ton of speed. And one thing about her is that she wants to coach and get into education to be with children. She loves kids and coaching them and being around them. And she wears all these bracelets. You can't see it now because she's all geared up, but she wears bracelets on her left arm that little kids have given to her. She said, I love them. They give them to me after the game, and I wear them, and I just love little kids so much. Maybe wants to be a kindergarten teacher whenever she gets done at A&M. Mom and other family members have been in education, and it might be the path for her too. Thought that was cute though, little bracelets that she wears.
Enright to third, Williams to second, and they will get the lead runner for now. Texas A&M may come out and challenge this, and Trisha Ford is going to.
And when you have speed like Coco Woolley, look at the jump. She's actually moving on the pitch, sees that ball down, and just doesn't skip a beat. When you have speed like Woolley, who is put in motion, that play, that force at second is going to be close. Bang, bang play at second. We're going to need it maybe to slow down to see, because it was just so close. I think maybe they got her by just a hair, but because she was going on the pitch, it made that play at second base a lot closer.
Well, just to go back to what you were talking about, though, with Coco Woolley and being an inspiration for young kids who want to be like her, Trisha Ford told us she is the type of person you root for in every walk of life, not just as a softball player. Full of joy and gratitude to be on the diamond, to be at Texas A&M.
Oh, maybe she is going to be safe. I was giving the benefit of the doubt to the defenders and Georgia's defense, but I think her foot gets in there. Right there. Yeah, remember, a catch is going to be with the glove closing around the ball, right? So here it's in the back of her glove, but the glove is not closing around the ball yet. That would be in the next couple of frames after that. So I think that this might get overturned.
Top 5 in program history in stolen bases. Told us, I go one speed, fast, all the time. And to get her out on the bases is one tall task. And I believe we have come to a decision here after video review. Here is Scott Mayer.
After further review, the call has been changed to safe at second base.
Is that 3 for A&M that have been overturned today? I think every time that they've challenged, it's actually been changed.
Including in game 1.
Yeah.
Trisha Ford's got the special touch.
And that's how fast she is. It helped her that she was going on the pitch. That is what made her safe at second base and sped up the Georgia defense. So quick. And now that speed is in scoring position.
With KK Dement at the plate. 2 home runs in the series already, including her second grand slam of the season back in game 1. Has boosted that batting average to above 300. Having an excellent freshman year over at second base. Ball gets away, and up to third goes Woolley. And unabated to second goes Enright.
Talked to Coco Woolley about her base running, and she said it's just instinctual. I'm anticipating things. She's anticipating this ball going in the dirt. She sees the angle of it, she sees it down, and she instantly gets a jump to go to third base. It is those base running instincts when you have speed that get you an extra 60 feet.
Dement launches this to left field, but foul. That was towering down the left field line. Just seems to be getting better as the season unfolds.
The way that Rachel Gibson varies his speed, she kind of lulls you to sleep with the changeup that's hard to pick up out of her hand, and then even that curveball that went up and away just seems so much faster because of how much she throws that changeup.
2-2 right back up the middle. Throw comes. And she now has 7 RBI in the series.
So Woolley is going to score easily, but Allie Enright from second base actually ran through the stop sign by Jeff Harger, who was holding her up, but works into her favor. And the cut and the throw to second base is going to lead to that out by KK DeMent, but a couple of more RBIs for her. Many RBIs for her. What is that? 8 for her today. You know, you had asked me earlier, and I didn't get a chance to answer it, but I'm thinking about it, is if I was surprised Tennessee went into Oklahoma and won that series. And I had said yes right away for many reasons, but it's because I had seen Tennessee play the weekend before against Arkansas, and in game 1 and game 2, they didn't look great at all. They didn't look good. They didn't look like a top 10 team, and then they ended up winning game 3 and looking a little bit better, but I didn't expect that team to go into Norman and win the series in Norman, which is maybe the most difficult place to play in our sport. But it just goes to show at any game, at any point, you can catch fire, you can catch momentum. And all of these teams throughout the season are going up and down. So you might catch a team when they're in a little bit of a lull, and you hope that your SEC schedule matches up, that you're playing teams when they're not their best. In the same breath, you hope that you're playing you don't hope that you're playing teams when they're at their best. In that one game for Tennessee in game 3 of the Arkansas series, they have changed their entire season. I think it changed their SEC season, you could say for sure.
Upstairs to Johnson to extend the inning. Well, tomorrow night's Sunday Night Baseball matchup is the series finale between the Cardinals and the Red Sox. Game time, 7 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, ESPN Radio. Coverage begins, of course, at 6 Eastern with baseball tonight's Sunday Night Countdown. We will have a pinch runner for Texas A&M. It'll be Kelsey Mathis running in place of Olivia Johnson. In the second-year Louisiana Ragin' Cajun transfer Kramer Eschte comes to the plate in the 9 spot. Here in the top of the 7th, 7-run lead for A&M. At one point in this game, trailed 4-0.
So tomorrow we'll have a day off, probably just watch it rain.
Just watch softball.
Tomorrow, just watch softball. The SEC teams have been relegated to a doubleheader today, I feel like. So games outside of the SEC we can catch tomorrow. A lot of teams doubling up today.
I'll tell you what you can watch tomorrow.
Okay.
3 Eastern on ABC. The women's basketball national championship.
That's right. I'll be tuning in.
Who you got? UConn, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Eschte into left, and that is caught by Jaden Goodwin. Maybe we'll break down Amanda's pick. Ellison a fly ball to right, and it is caught. Monday night over on SEC Network. It's the final game of our 3-game set here in Athens, Georgia. Game time scheduled for 6 Eastern right here at Jack Turner Stadium. Amanda and I will be back for the call as Dallas Goodnight digs in with 1 down and the bases clear. Meanwhile, A&M, boy, have they looked good this year. Yes, they have a number 4 ranking. Yes, they're 33-5. But Amanda, when you look at who this team has played, their only series loss to this point in the SEC is Florida, who reached the Women's College World Series last year, brings back an abundance of players from that team. Otherwise, they swept Auburn, took 2 of 3 against Alabama, and they are on the cusp of taking the first 2 here against Georgia.
You look at this game in particular, they've just done a good job with runners on base and in scoring position. 5 for 6 with runners in scoring position, 7 for 15 with runners on base, and only left 3 on. They left more on in that first game, even though it was a run rule win in 6 innings, but they've just done a really good job with runners in scoring position and with runners on base today.
Down goes Goodnight. Lessentine has looked very nice in her short relief appearance. Has set down all 5 batters she's faced, including 3 strikeouts.
Let's go defense, let's go. 2 outs.
What a run Texas A&M has been on. They've won 8 of their last 11 SEC series. It's about to be 9 of 12 if they can get the final out here.
Well, they've pitched really well. You take away that first inning from Georgia where Grace Sparks had a tough start to this game, and Emily Kennedy, Emily Levitt, and Sydney Lessentine have looked really sharp, have not given up much at all.
There you go, Sid. Here you go, Sid. Let's go. Bring the ball. Come here, Sid.
Well, Texas A&M 1 strike away from their first series win in program history in Athens. They are 6-0 this year in true road games, including that sweep of Auburn. Did not play Georgia last year. 2-2 misses low.
There you go, Sid.
The 3-2. Lindy Ray Davis pops it up behind home. It'll find the seats.
Here you go, Sid.
This A&M team was actually swept by Georgia in the last series back in 2023 at home in College Station.
From behind win for the Aggies when they fell behind by 4 runs in that first inning. They could have gotten down, but their offense scored in a lot of different ways. The long ball was big, but 12 hits in game 2 of this doubleheader and some great pitching performances behind Emily Kennedy's complete game of game 1.
All of a sudden, Amanda, A&M has become the big boppers. Multiple home runs in both games for A&M. They take the doubleheader and win game 2, 12-5. For Amanda Scarborough, our entire ESPN crew, Matt Schumacher saying good night from Athens.